together a fast 5-minute cream eyeshadow look. It's one of my most requested looks. I kind of fell into this look by accident. I was just playing around with some cream eyeshadows and wanted to figure out how to make them work for my newly developed droopy eyelids, and this technique has worked. So if you are like me and you have more mature eye area, then this is a tutorial that you might really enjoy when it comes to how to apply a cream eyeshadow. If we haven't met before, hi, my name's Jody. I'm 55. Think of me as your midlife beauty bestie, where I share with you tips and tricks. Most of them work, some of them don't, just depends on our different skin types, but I do a lot of trial and error. Well, I take the error on my side. Once I figured out what works, then I share it with you. You don't want to see all the errors. It's not a good look. Thank gosh I have a very patient husband. All right, you guys, let's get into this look. On my eyes right now, I just have a little bit of concealer because I wanted to neutralize the red. I have some veins that have decided to make an appearance as of late when it comes to my eyelids. So you just want to put a concealer, or if you don't wear a concealer, maybe a foundation. You just want to neutralize this eyelid area so that you can get the true color of the payout of the shadow that you're going to apply. You also just want to make sure that it's more uniform with the rest of your face. All right, so that being said, you can use an eyeshadow primer if you want. I don't like to do that. My eyelids are, I'd say they're normal. If you find that your eyelids are more oily, then you would want to apply a mattifying eyelid primer to help keep that oil at bay so that your cream eyeshadow lasts longer. If you find that your eyelids are more dry, then apply a little bit of a moisturizer on your eyelids. Allow that to absorb before going in with your cream eyeshadow. All right, for this, I'm using the Makeup by Mario. This is in Mauve. This has been one of my favorite colors as of late. And you guys, this is such a fast process. Usually if you watch my tutorials, you know I like to apply stuff on the back of my hands and then pick it up with the brush. With this, I just go right in and I'm just gonna go in this outer corner past the crease and about halfway on the lid. Super messy, not anything fancy. I take the width of this applicator, you can see, and just kind of apply it there. And then I just kind of look to make sure that I have about the same amount on both sides. Now, if you're looking at that going, what in the heck are you doing? Don't worry, it's gonna blend out just fine. And for the blending process, you need a blending brush. Here's two different sizes. I prefer the larger fluffy brush for this process versus a small one because I really want to diffuse that eyeshadow. This brush is by BS Small. It's very affordable. I get them on Amazon. I'll link a couple of them down below. This eyeshadow does last all day and it does dry down, but you don't have to work super fast. So you saw I just did some talking there and you can see how well it's blending. I'm just blending that color up above the crease because I want to use more of the real estate on my eye and go almost to the brow, but I want to leave about the size of a pencil of skin showing between my eyeshadow and my eyebrow. And I'm just gonna go all over the lid, all the way to the inner corner with this. And I'm holding the brush kind of in the middle because I want pretty good control, but I don't need precision. If I needed precision, I'd be right up here. If I wanted a really light hand, I'd be back here. So you really want somewhere in the middle because you want to control where your brush is going, but you don't need a lot of pressure. Because these formulas blend out super, super easily. And you can barely tell that it's there, and it looks as though I had a professional makeup artist diffuse 2 or 3 different shades on my eyelid, which is why I love these shadows. So I have Mauve, like I said. I also have Taupe, and I do this exact same process with Taupe. So if you have that shade, I also have Chestnut. You could do the same technique with Chestnut. For me, Chestnut's a little too warm, so it's not my favorite. It looked cooler to me in the store. And then when I wore it, I was like, oh, I don't really care for warm shadows or warm blush or warm lipstick on me. But see how that just gives a really soft look of color? It's more of a flush, just like when we talk about blush nowadays on more mature skin. You don't want to really see the blush. Same is true with a more trendy or current eyeshadow technique. You don't want to really see the color. You just want a hint of it being there. Now these are buildable eyeshadows, so you can go back in if you want to build up a little bit more. I think I will just for the purposes of the camera so you can see it because it might be a little too light. but in person, it's perfect. So again, just go in, kind of dot it where you want. I always apply it in the outer corner because that is where I want the darker look to this shadow. I would never go in with these shadows and put it in the center and then try to blend it out to each corner. Because our eyes are naturally round, the majority of the shadow is in this outer corner. So that's where the most product is gonna go. So that's where I put that brush and then blend it inward so that it is thinner as you go in towards the center of your eyes. And then I'll just go up and kind of curve that down to give a little bit of a contour to my nose, but not much. I'm not trying to be fancy with this. It just, since it's on the brush, I might as well use it. And that is pretty much step one. So easy, you guys. You don't have to be a professional makeup artist to get this look. And yet it really has elevated, I think, my eyeshadow look and looks more current. So that's why I love it. All right, next I'm gonna go in with this Morphe. This is Airplay. I love this shade. I know many of you have picked this up. Some people have said that they feel like their eyes look more wrinkled and that this really creased on them. If you're finding that that's the case, try an eyeshadow primer first before you return it. Just give it a couple more tries. Again, an eyeshadow primer or an eyelid primer might help, and definitely put a little bit of moisturizer on. Now I'm just gonna take a flat brush. I'm gonna get the very smallest amount, and I'm just gonna very lightly tap that in that inner corner. Just the smallest amount. And I wanna stop really where my eyelashes start. So just highlighting that inner corner and then bring it down and around. The best way to identify the placement for this lighter shade is look at the inner corner of your eye, and where your eyelashes have stopped, that's where you start with the light, right on that lash line, and then a little bit into the crease. If you have hooded eyes, then you'll go a little bit above that crease, but not too much. And then again, just do that on both sides. You can build it if you want. I don't want it to be really bright. I just want it to get a little lighter as it goes from the outer corner to the inner corner. Super, super easy, just like that. And then don't forget that bottom lash. Now for the lower lashes, if you have these Makeup by Mario cream eyeshadows, taupe is a really good one for this because it complements the mauve really nicely. If you've got the Morphe in Chorus, then you can use that one. I'm gonna use this one just to show you that this doesn't have to be an expensive eye look. You're just gonna take it and you would do the same thing with the Makeup by Mario if that's the one that you have. And for this, you wanna use more of a flat brush because this is gonna be an eyeliner for us. If you have an eyeliner brush, you can use it, but I prefer something that's more fluffy where the bristles are less dense and it gives you a more blurred out look to your lashes or to your under eye. Then holding the brush at the back, because I do want a light hand here, I'm gonna go in and just go back and forth, pick up that product on the tip of the brush. I don't want too much product on the side because as I'm going into that under eye area, I don't wanna leave a bunch of product where the side of that brush would touch and bring it down. I really wanna keep that product on the tip of your brush. And then start with the outer corner for the same reasons that we did that with the upper lash or lid. And just slight hand define my lower lash line. Now I like to go all the way to where that lighter color is that we applied, just so that it looks as though my eye has a complete bottom. And you can build these eyeshadows, so if you find that you want it darker, and we'll probably go and do this other side again, just because I do want it a little bit darker. I'll wait for it to dry down just a little and layer it, which helps with the staying power. And if you're wondering about my lip combo, this is my most requested lip combo. It's my favorite. It is Spice by Jane Iredale is the liner. I think of this as like a rustic burgundy. That's the best way I can describe it. It is a beautiful liner, great for summer, great for fall. And then on top of that is Blazed Donut by Fenty Beauty. That's the lip combo. And I'll leave that down below if you want to find it. So just gonna build this up a little bit, but see how this kind of a brush gives the most diffused, I have some thick lashes on my bottom lash line look without having a harsh or really dark or straight eyeliner look. It just softens the whole look and gives it a more current feel to your overall makeup. Now I'm gonna quickly curl my lashes. This is a step I never miss. Now we're gonna go with a little bit of eyeliner. I am wearing Raven by Smashbox. This is their Always Sharp. I love these because the sharpener is built in the lid. So once you have the lid on, you just twist it and it sharpens it as you open it. It's the easiest concept, and a lot of other eyeliners have not done this, and I don't know why. It's so handy. Now I'm gonna go in this outer corner and just ever so slightly do an easy wing. But I'm gonna take that product and start outside of my eyelashes, but then I wanna drive that liner right into my lashes at about the 3rd mark. And what I mean by that is if you were to take your eye and separate it into thirds, I want that eyeliner to go disappear by that 1st third before you go into the center third of your eye. Does that make sense? I know you're like, Jody, I don't want to be in math class. I don't either. That was not a class that I did well at. Definitely not the teacher's pet in that class. Do the same thing on this side. You guys, this really is fast. I promise you this is fast when you don't have me talking. And if you don't want to use the eyeliner, that does help move this process along. But I think the eyeliner just gives a little bit of definition because these shades are soft and somewhat muted. I just like to have a little bit of a definition to the lash. Now you could use a brown eyeliner here instead and go tight line up underneath and push that color up into your lashes from the underneath side. That's also very pretty. I just find that my eyes look bigger when I put the liner on top of my lashes versus up underneath. So for me, that's just the preferred look. And I think partly because I like a bolder eyebrow. So if I'm gonna go bolder with my eyebrows, I feel like I need my eyes to look more open. If you like your eyebrows a little thinner, or maybe yours are thinner and you don't like to over sculpt them, then you can do that tight line underneath and it would look beautiful. All right, so now we need to just slap on some mascara. I would normally reach for either Thrive Causemetics False Lash or the Firework by Maybelline. Today we're gonna go with Thrive Causemetics because they sent a package in the mail introducing 2 new shades that I wanted to be sure that I shared with you guys. I want to thank Thrive Causemetics for sending me these. There are 2 new shades. One is called Whitney and one is called Crystal. Now Whitney is a darker gray shade, which I thought was really interesting. We might try that because I just want to know how that looks. I'm curious. I spend enough time and money trying to cover up gray on my head, so I'm not sure why I would put it on my lashes. But if you have maybe darker gray hair and you're always unsure of what mascara, then this might be a really pretty one to try. And then Crystal is a blackish brown. So let's try this gray one first. Again, this is called Whitney. I don't know if I've heard of another mascara company doing a gray. Yeah, that is definitely, it's a brownish gray. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look really that gray, I guess. I mean, it's got cool undertones to it. Let's put it next to this Crystal and see. Again, this is blackish brown, so I'm pretty confident in what this is gonna look like. But let's just see. Okay, so compared to, that's kind of a messy swatch, Jody. So yeah, this black, it's a terrible swatch, but it's mascara. It's a little hard to do a good swatch. So yeah, that is definitely more of a blackish brown. This is an interesting color. I would say it is definitely gray, but I don't, but I'm not mad at it. You know what? Let's see what that looks like compared to the Lash Paradise. So here's the Latte Brown by Lash Paradise. I just want to compare and see. I mean, that's such a bigger brush. I am taking my life into my own hands with this white sweatshirt today and these mascara swatches. Okay, so that's the Latte Brown by Lash Paradise that many of you love. This is the Thrive Causemetics Blackish Brown. It's definitely got a little more black to it, but I can see the brown in it. And then this is Whitney, which is that gray color. I think if you have gray hair, this would be a really nice complement. I think it's a little cool though, so I would just make sure that you don't look too cool. Don't look too cool. When do we ever say that? But you just don't want to have cool eyebrows and cool lashes. It might just drown you out a little bit more. So make sure that your brows are a little bit to the neutral side if you're going to wear more of a cool toned mascara like this. But I can see where that would be really pretty if you've got gray hair. And especially I've seen women now, let me know in the comments if you're one of those women that have the different shades of gray. Some people are putting like more light gray money pieces in the front and then just the different dimensions of gray around the rest. So beautiful. In fact, I was at Starbucks the other day and the lady had her hair pulled up in a bun and it was like that. I said, your hair is gorgeous. So I think that'd be a really pretty mascara if you've got different shades of gray in your hair. And even if your hair is black and you find that your mascara or your makeup in general looks a little harsh, that's a way of just lightening it up, but staying more neutral to cool without feeling like you have to go to a brown. So I really love that, you guys. Again, that is Whitney, and I will leave that linked down below. I'm also going to wipe it off my hand because I just don't trust myself with a white shirt. I'm gonna use Whitney on this eye just so we can see what it looks like and if it looks much different than the brown when it's on. I think that if you like black mascara, but you find that it's a little harsh, I can see actually why this would be a really good alternative. You know how blue mascara looks blue? I don't feel like this looks gray. Again, who would have ever thought I would put gray eyelashes on when I try to cover my gray? This is called adulting. Well, that does not look gray to me. Does it look gray to you guys once it's on? It definitely looked gray on the swatch, but it doesn't look gray. It looks like a softer black to me, which I love that. On this side is the shade Crystal, which is the blackest brown shade. Yeah, I don't see a big difference, but let's just finish this and see from a distance. So here is their brown black shade called Crystal, and then here is Whitney, which is their charcoal gray shade. I mean, I don't know that you can really tell a difference, but I do feel like it's a little bit lighter or softer than black. I don't know that it's probably a little bit cooler than I would like, and I love cool eyeshadows and blushes and lipsticks, but I feel like it may be a little too cool, where the brown black just looks a little warmer. Now that is such a minute small detail that nobody else would probably notice, but for me, I think I like the brown black. But again, I'm more warm in my skin tone and my hair color, so that is kind of balancing it all out. Well, let me know what you guys think, and if you want to try a gray shade, a charcoal gray mascara. I had not seen that before, so hats off to Thrive Causemetics, which makes a fantastic mascara. These are tubing mascaras, I should add. If I didn't say that, they are tubing mascaras. I'm just going to cover that gray one up with this because I do like the warmth that I get from that brown black. But I hesitate to say warmth, you guys, because it's not warm. It's cooler than the Lash Paradise. This is a little bit warmer, still really beautiful, but as you saw a second ago on my hand, I feel like this one is just a great brown black. Okay, there we go. Well, this would have taken 5 minutes had I not gone into a full mascara demonstration, but why not? If we've got new shades, we should test them out and see if it's something that maybe you want to try. All right, so that is the look. It's very simple. You can always go back in and build stuff out. I got a little mascara on this side, so I'm just gonna blend it real quickly. You can always go and build in more shade if you like, more color, but this is a really easy, everyday, sophisticated, but fun look. Super fun colors. So let me know if you're gonna give it a try. I love this one. All right, you guys, if you are wondering about your skincare routine, I have recently done a video that walks you through what you should incorporate in your skincare and maybe some mistakes that you might be making. I would encourage you to check that one out. I'll leave it for you right here. That does it for me today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and give it a try, and I will see you in just a couple days. Bye-bye.